Hey guys and girls, welcome back to Harper's Shed. My name's Tim. Today we're going to make a bit of a move on another project that's been sitting here for way too long. We're going to get some work done on this thing. Alright, so today's little journey, we're going to get this fine piece of agricultural engineering back into a good running order. So I received this tractor a fair while ago, just as payment for a job that I did. Wasn't running at the time, did some looking over it and we sort of come to an agreement. So it is a Bull Satoh, I believe you pronounce it. It's two-wheel drive, turf tyres on the back obviously. It's a Japanese tractor. The year exactly I couldn't tell you, but one of the reasons why I said yes and I picked it up is because it still runs a good old Mitsubishi 2-cylinder diesel engine. I did get this running before I even bothered starting making videos and whatnot. I sort of mucked around with it and got it to fire. It didn't take much at all, just the standard clear the lines, bleed the injectors, run it up, and it fired up very well. There is some issues with the tractor, as you'd expect from something this old that was sitting around for a long time before I got it. Yeah, we'll run you through a few and then we'll get to work. So as I said, one of the draw cards for me was the donk. So there we have a Mitsubishi KE130. Now they don't actually produce the engines anymore, which makes parts a little tricky to come by, but there's sort of still enough around if you know where to look. 2-cylinder diesel, obviously, as I said. It's about a 25 horsepower unit, I believe, which is not bad for a tractor of this size. It's very much a hobby size tractor, but yeah, that's a fair bit of power for it. Some of the issues we've got, alternator doesn't work. I did go in and have a look at the box and it's stuffed. The bearings are no good at it either. It grumbles its head off. When I got the unit, the thermostat housing, one of the main reasons the guy was getting rid of it was because it sat for so long and the cooling system was just in disrepair. So thermostat housing was very, very corroded and fallen apart, and it actually broke off completely. Same with the water pump. So the water pump outlet actually broke off completely. So I had to weld on a new bit of pipe, new bit of aluminium there. Not fun. Tigging old cast alloy that's been impregnated with glycol for a lot of years really sucks. Anyway, the issues that we've got is when I welded and sort of cleaned all this up, we've still got a little leak, which you can see coming through there. So that's got to come off, re-welded, made a bit prettier. And I got, I don't know if it's going to show up, but I got a little bit heavy-handed. Yeah, there we go. A little bit heavy-handed when I installed it, and I cracked the edge of the flange. So that needs to get fixed properly too. Depending on how much of a dick around it is, I might just make another one from scratch, get some heavy alloy plate and tap in a new fitting for it. Other than that, the cooling system does actually function all right. The radiator doesn't leak. One of the other big issues with it is, if I can remember where, there we go. So this is dipstick, and it's very, very, hang on, we'll see if we can scrape some up for you. Yeah. So we're going to drop the pan. I did pull the rocker cover off when I first tried to get the thing running. Just wanted to make sure that valves weren't stuck and whatnot. It's a very sludgy engine. Unfortunately, like a lot of typical farm units, they get driven until they stop driving, and they don't really get a lot of love in between. That's been my experience anyway. So we have 3-speed gearbox, and we've got a PTO speed selector as well. I'm not entirely sure why it has a 4-speed PTO and a 3-speed transmission box. don't know. Anyway, I did drop, actually I don't think this one has a dipstick on it. I did drop the oil in the gearbox when I sort of was mucking around with it before, so these run like a lot of tractors. The gearbox oil is the same as the hydraulic oil. I got good 5 litres worth of water out of the bottom. So, and that always comes in from there. So if you've got any small tractor or any tractor, anything really, that sits outside and it's not undercover, make sure your shifter boots are in good nick. 9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, that's where it comes in at. Around the shifter boots, that's where you get all your moisture in your water. PTO output does work. There's a few other issues. Wheel bearings. This side wheel bearing had completely collapsed. I really wish I had filmed all this, but anyway, it was before I even thought about it. So that side wheel bearing had completely collapsed, and I needed to replace that. This side wheel bearing is on its way out too. So that I will film, because they're a little bit of a... The bearings themselves aren't a funky setup, but the seals are a nightmare. So I'll show you on this one what I've done on that one. It's just that, yeah, you'll see. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. So other than a really good service, and I'm going to drop the pan, clean the pan, and I'll probably end up trying to flush with some Kero and diesel down in through the top and try and clean out as much of the sludge as we can, because the engine, as I said, is a good running engine. So we need to preserve it before we do any internal damage from trying to pump grease instead of oil. So as you can see, this is some of the stuff that I really want to try and wash out down through the sump. So she's pretty heavy. Like, yeah. When do you reckon the last time that was serviced? When it left the factory? Still breaking oil, probably. It's good. Anyway, let's I knew that was there. That wasn't a surprise. What I want to do, let's go on a ride. see how much oil comes out of this, or if it's just grease. Ready? Oh, that's fine. Just bottle it back up again. We're good. Oh, that makes me sad inside. So I put, when I first got this thing running, I dumped about a litre or so just into it, because I knew it was pretty thick and sludgy. So I dropped a litre of, I don't know, I think it was maybe some 1040 possibly, and it didn't really. I just thought, my theory was that it'll loosen it up. This engine, since I started working on it, it's lucky to have ran probably 5 minutes, but it did fire up nice and ran. It was enough to drive it onto the trailer and off the trailer and to where it sits. But that's oh yeah, that's why I want to drop the pan. And imagine how thick the build-up of sludge is on the bottom. That's not even that much. I mean, that's also... molasses. Alright, let's get that pan off there. Oh, hang on. Do it. Maybe I made a call too quick on how much oil was in there. I'm going to let that drain for a bit. We're going to pull that pan off there and see how scary it is. Just wanted to share that pretty quick while I'm waiting for the oil to drain. 18th to the 4th, 99. That oil is nearly 22 years old. I'd believe it. Alright. Just got the gasket to break loose. I thought I'd pick up the camera. See, it's pretty heavy, considering it's supposed to be no. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm going to put you down. Get this pan off completely, and then we'll have a little look. Well, you saw me drain the oil, and the only word I can think for this is impressive. That is all. See if we can capture this. I think it might have been the right move pulling the sump off. We got up in here. I don't know if there's supposed to be a pickup. I mean, the rest of it's kind of not too bad. I mean, the counterweights are pretty ordinary, but I'm being honest, there's no real build-up on the counterweights. There's no real build-up on the rods. A little bit of build-up on the rod, but it's not ridiculous. I think the pickup screen might need to be cleaned. Oh, it's a spring. Ooh. How does that come off now? Oh. Trying really hard not to get all the goo all over my phone while I'm... How do you come off? Is it just a lip or... Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to investigate that a bit more. But that's the screen. I can drop my hand into some crude oil. Alright. This is going to require some cleanup. Oh, nailed it. Spring washer even. It's just working with grease. Yeah. That's where we get oil up. Into oil it. I'm not sure why there's a bolt on that one. Might be a retainer for the shaft. Anyway, that assembly is going to get cleaned as an assembly. What I want to do, these hollow push rods, no they won't be, but are they all the same length? They sure are. Alright, good. So they can all go in the bucket. Oh, I can get dunked in the parts cleaner. That's... yeah. there we go. After a little bit of scrubbing, bit of elbow grease, it's come up pretty good. Still not fantastic, but much better than it was. I cleaned the rocker cover out, even threw a bit of paint on there. Why not? Dirty already, but it's a tractor, it's supposed to be, so. And the sump. Who'd have thought it? Look at that. Nothing in there. Really good condition, actually, so all that grease obviously stopped it rusting. And just a bit of paint on that as well, try and make it look a bit pretty. So I went through and reset the valves. I couldn't find a measurement online, so I just went through and set them to 8 thou. Number 1 exhaust, which is down a little bit now, number 1 exhaust was sitting at about 20 thou, and then the rest of them were essentially 0 lash, so it should hopefully make it run a bit better. Maybe build a few extra points of compression now the valves are closing all the way. So anyway, I gotta go and make some gaskets for both the rocker cover and the sump, and I can clean some bolts, clean off the gasket area for the sump, and we'll get it back together. As you can probably tell by the amount of crap that's lying around here that wasn't here in the first portion of the video, it's been a minute. So like a lot of my projects, this one had some work done to it and then got pushed back because RX-7 basically, and bike, and you know, just my general being, everything got pushed back. So, but I'm back on it. Really, the only thing that I didn't sort of film is putting it back together, filling it full of oil, and kicking to the guts. It runs. That filler neck still leaks a little bit, but I'm not sure if I'm going to worry about it or not yet. Made up a bit of a, let's call that an intake pipe, just cause. But yeah, other than that, it runs. It does its job. So I got the glow plugs working. So we'll jump up. Now everything works on this, except not much of it. Neutral. Still haven't replaced the shifter boots, but it's on the list. So the oil pressure light does work, and the charging light used to work. Anyway, put on the clutch. We got glowy, so let's go. I don't know. Yep, about that. A little bit of throttle. Just drop it a little bit. We might have a little bit of blow by, but you get that on the big jobs. So yeah, starts. That was dead cold. Starts and runs beautiful. All the PTO gears work. As for the wheel bearing, I actually went in, and the wheel seal's leaking. There's no two ways about that. I went in and I just adjusted the wheel bearing, and that took the play out of it. So I mean, if you want to look at the rest of the tractor, it's hardly a 10 grand unit, is it? So I sort of did what I needed to do to make the thing reliable, and it is. I mean, it starts and runs beautiful. It'd be nice if the temperature gauge worked, or the tacho, or, well, any of them, I suppose. But it doesn't. So yeah, no point at all fixing any of the rust. I mean, look at the bonnet. It's had it, but again, you know, we're going to look at this thing. The bonnet's going to go on, and it's going to go up for sale for, you know, a couple of grand. It's really not worth the time me to fix all the rust and repaint it. If this thing was to be in absolute showroom condition, again, don't forget it's 2-wheel drive. So, you know, if this thing was in showroom condition, you're probably looking 5 grand, 6 grand, maybe. It's just not worth the hours that I would lay into it to pretty it all up. So, but what it is a good running unit. Fresh oils throughout, fresh filters throughout. I could still get it too, which is pretty cool. Oop. Brand spanking new air filter, which doesn't look new just because it's a bit dusty. Brand new air filter, oil filter, fuel filter. So yeah, that's it. It runs. It's good. Clutch is actually really good. If I didn't have, you know, things in the way, then I could take it for a drive and I'd show that. But, you know, if you watch any of the other videos, you know that RX-7 is not mobile. So if you want to check out any of that video, I'll post a link and you can have a geese. But yeah, there we are. So thanks for coming along. And it looks a little bit disjointed, this video, but it sort of is what it is. I finish projects when I can get time to get to them. Yeah, good old girl. It'll make someone happy. It'll run well. It's got a lot of years of service left in it. So yeah, we'll put it up and see how it goes. All right, thanks very much. We'll catch you on the next one.